Welcome in, everybody, to Outdoors Appalachia. I'm Murray Lee, digital executive producer here at WJHL, and I am joined by a very good friend, Mr. Chris McIntosh.
How you doing today, Murray?
And doing good.
Man,
Glad
what a day to be outdoors. Today
I
would be the
know.
day. Yeah.
I mean, it's what, 80 degrees
80
outside today?
degrees outside and it is nice outside. I was outside earlier doing some stuff. It was fantastic. A little breeze blowing and it's nice.
Yeah, it feels great outside. The storm team said it's not going to last forever.
Nope.
Just going to be a quick little 3 days of some real nice warmth, and
Yep.
I'm going to capitalize it as long as I can. I'll tell you
I hear
that.
that. Yeah. Get outside and enjoy. Do something. Get
Yeah.
outside and enjoy this little respite we get from the cold weather. It's going to be back next week.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the meanest April Fool's Day joke that I saw. I don't
Yes.
know, you catch it on Facebook, but Bristol Motor
Oh
Speedway,
yeah.
they put up a picture with the inside, like the track all filled in with water, and they
Yeah.
said Bass Pro Shop's gonna have a big fishing tournament in
Be
the
kind
last.
of hard unless you got up in the seats to get some cover for some bass in
Yeah.
there. But I was telling you off camera, but I'll tell the viewers right now. Kyle Petty years ago had suggested that they just fill it up and run motorboats in there because he got tired of wrecking and hitting the walls and stuff up there. So he decided that it's just time to bring out a motorboat, just go around in a circle up there.
Hey,
So
look, the Romans filled their Colosseum
that's
with
right,
water. Let's bring it back to the last great Colosseum. Just throw some in
absolutely.
there. I guarantee you catching a bass in BMS has got to be the best feeling ever if it would ever happen.
I'm going to tell you something. You and I will definitely have a boat out there if they decide to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be petitioning every marina and be like, "Hey, look, listen, just hear us out."
Just hear us out on this, okay? We
Well,
could we could put your name up and make it huge for somebody. Oh my goodness.
well, we're not talking fishing today,
Nope.
unfortunately. Which
Maybe
is,
next time.
yeah. Well, it was one of those. We are looking at the topics, and man, I would. Well, then I got to thinking. I was like, oh man, I gotta renew that fishing license
Yeah.
first before I give anybody any
Yep.
fishing
Make
advice.
sure you do that.
Yeah, you
Yes,
don't want to
before
get
you hit.
caught
Yes,
without.
do not get caught because that comes with some stiff penalties. It
Yeah,
really does.
yeah. So yeah, that's our obligatory get your fishing
Get your
license
fishing
renewed
license
every year,
or your
or
hunting license.
yeah,
Yes.
or do the lifetime. Yeah,
Yes, and that's a great deal too. A little plug for the TWRA. You have small children; it is a perfect gift for them to get them started down the road. You only pay it one time, and it's good for the rest of their lives. I mean, it is a great, great deal. It
yeah,
really is.
absolutely. All right. Well, first up today, we're going to be talking about something a little different from usual,
Right?
but there's actually going to be with it being spring. This is the perfect time for the USDA to be dropping vaccine packets for rabies
Right.
for wild animals. So this is something that's done semi regularly. Yeah, they were supposed to do it in 2024. They weren't able to. So they pushed it to this year, to this time. And so this is going to be in Tennessee,
Yeah.
Virginia, and North Carolina. So
Right.
it's going to be in all of them. Here's what these things look like right
Yeah,
here.
and if you see these out, if you're out in the woods, if you're out fishing, you're out anywhere in the outdoors, and you see something that looks like this, just leave it alone. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. It is there for a very good cause because the raccoons, possums will eat these, and it really, well, other wildlife too will eat these, and it vaccinates them against rabies. And if we can keep the rabies out of the wild population, the better off we're going to be with everyone. I mean, across the board.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very important to have these out there, and they are
Yes.
scented.
Yes.
They are supposed to attract wild animals. So there is a very good chance
Yeah.
that you if you're walking your dog or you're out
Right.
somewhere in a wild area, they might want to go after them. Don't let them, but
Yes.
not the end of the world if they do.
Yeah. They
They're
just said if you touch them for some reason, if you were like picking up garbage or something and picking up litter and you happen to touch one, just wash your hands immediately and just leave it lay. Just leave it lay and pick it up because, like you said, there's a really good chance because they're going to be dropping about 400,000 of these in Tennessee and about 230,000 over in Southwest Virginia. So there's a chance you might run upon one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give everyone a look again. They do kind of
Yes.
It was funny. One of our coworkers mentioned the other day. She said they kind of look like raviolis. I said,
Well, yeah, that one up at the green one up there
yeah,
kind of looks like some spinach ravioli, but
yeah.
don't eat it. Don't
No, no, do not eat it. If your pets do happen to eat them, it's okay. The
Yes,
USDA has said they are proven safe. Again, they're not meant for your pets, and
right,
they're certainly not meant for us. But they are domesticated animals. It is okay for them
right.
to eat them. You don't have to be too concerned.
And when you
Uh,
think about all the raccoons, the possums, the foxes, small animals in the forest and in the brush and everything, rabies can decimate a population of those in no time if they don't take these steps. And the rabies can be passed along to your pets from those wild animals. That's one reason they're out here doing it. So it's an important thing that the USDA is doing.
And so I'll just go ahead and I'll read through the list. This is all
Yep.
information provided by the USDA. So these are going to be pretty much everywhere in Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. We're talking Carter County, Greene County, Johnson County, Sullivan, Unicoi, Washington, uh, and then going into some of the exact towns in Tennessee: Bristol, Tennessee, Elizabethton, Irwin, Johnson City, Mountain City. So in all those towns, and then up in Virginia,
Right.
uh, Washington County, Virginia, Russell County, Smith County, and then in Abingdon and Bristol, Virginia as well. So a very big swath
Yes.
of our coverage area. So keep an eye out for those. That those started yesterday. Those drops, and they're doing them aerially. So it's
Yeah.
coming by helicopters, planes, different just different avenues. They're dropping them all over the place in any wild areas that you
They actually
might
will.
notice.
I've talked to some TWRA guys before. They will actually go out in their trucks and when they'll get out of their vehicles and everything and just go out in the woods and spread them by hand sometimes. But the main way that they do it is by aerial. And if you see an airplane, you see a helicopter flying low, and you see them dropping something, that's what they're doing. So just make sure you just leave them alone and let them do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the fewer animals we got running around with rabies,
oh,
the safer everybody
hmm
else is going to be. So, uh, but I
and
mean, pretty cool find. If you do see them,
yeah,
I mean, just hey, worth taking a picture as long as you don't
yeah,
touch them.
just don't
But
touch them.
yeah, just leave them,
Just leave them alone.
leave them for the raccoons.
I tell you, raccoons. If you've ever seen a raccoon that is it's rabid, it'll just tear at your heart. I mean, it really does because it devastates them. It
Yeah.
really does. And any animal with rabies is hard to look at. And if you do happen to see one, you see an animal acting strangely, you think it may be rabies, contact an authority, contact the local animal control, contact TWRA, contact somebody to take care of that animal. Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with
All
our
right.
next topic. And this one, a lot more fun. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We're not talking, we're done with rabies. Rabies are
No more
done.
rabies. We're
Yeah.
done.
Everybody, get your animals their rabies vaccines.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
all right. We'll be right back here on Outdoors Appalachia. Welcome back in, everybody. So we just finished our talk about the rabies vaccines that are being dropped all across the area. So now we're moving on. We got a new topic that we're going to talk about today, and that is something that a lot of people. I've never had the opportunity to do this. It's on my bucket list for sure. Would love to do this someday. But that is the people who are hiking all the way through
Right.
the Appalachian Trail, and this is the prime time of year to start.
The Appalachian Trail, I mean, a lot of people have probably been, if you've done any hiking at all around here, you probably have been on portions of the Appalachian Trail at some point. And it comes through this entire area, and you can actually just do through hikes or do mini hikes here on the AT. But a lot of through hikers love this section of the country because it's so beautiful. It's something that we see every day, and we appreciate it. But if you're from somewhere else in the country and you're coming through here, it is definitely an eye opener when you come through here on the Appalachian Trail because there is some beautiful overlooks and some things that you don't see unless you're on the Appalachian Trail.
Hey, Chris, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head how long the entire Appalachian Trail is?
Oh goodness. It's 2000,
Yep.
2019, something like that.
God, you're so close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two,
It.
2,198.4
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah, starts down in Springer, Georgia, goes all the way to Mount Katahdin up in Maine. I wanted to do this when I was a younger man and had better knees.
Well, you know,
But it's I have a good friend of mine who actually did the entire through hike, and he went through like 3 pairs of boots, had huge blisters on his feet, but he said he would never trade it for anything. He actually did it from Maine to Georgia
oh,
instead
so
of
he did the
he did
reverse.
the reverse.
Okay.
He flew to Maine and hiked all the way back to Springer Mountain, Georgia.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've like I said, always wanted to do it. It's something me and my wife have always talked about
Yes,
wanting to do together, and just making that massive trek. Now, obviously, 2,000, almost 2,200 miles
right.
is not a quick trip. So
No.
through hikers, people who do the
Yes.
full length of the trail, for anyone who's not familiar,
Yes.
takes a massive amount of time. You're talking months
Planning,
to
and
get
you've
up there.
got to do a lot of pre-planning and I actually watch a lot of videos of through hikers that post like daily blogs and things or of their adventures on the AT and just what they go through as far as food, sleeping. I mean, just hygiene, you name it. The things that they go through to be able to do this hike, it is amazing. And I give my tip my hat to them because they're dedicated to what they're wanting to do here. And it is a, I think I know people that have done it multiple times. There's actually a gentleman over in Mountain City that has done it, I think, upwards of 60 times.
Oh my
So
goodness.
so it there's there's people out there that have done it multiple times, but to just do it once would be a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, and so naturally, with this being such a such an endeavor, doing
Hmm.
it for so long, people try to plan it out where typically they start in the spring,
Yes,
so that by the time they finish, it's not the hottest time of the
right,
year, but they're still like you're not getting caught out there in winter.
right.
And actually, Chris, you love the people of Damascus, and of course they've got their whole trail days
Yes,
or scheduled out for when people typically start the trail, which is around this time.
right,
Some people start in mid March or early April. Those are about the two main times, and then they get all the way to Damascus, Virginia, by the time the trail days rolls around, and
right.
it's just a massive collection of people.
Yes. And the thing is, Damascus is such a touchstone for those through hikers. That's the one place that everybody on this end of the trail, Damascus is one of those places that all the through hikers talk about. They think about getting there and going to like to get food at the Damascus Diner and some other places up there. It is just a great. It is an icon on the Appalachian Trail. Is that stopover in Damascus? I know so many guys that hike and people that hike and they talk about their time that they've spent in Damascus, Virginia, and they really love it.
Yeah. Well, and of course, this year, unfortunately, for a lot of
Yeah,
AT through hikers, there's going to be some changes that
there's
they're going
going to
to
be a few
notice.
changes because of Mother Nature.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So of course, as everyone's familiar with, Hurricane Helene rolled through back in September, and naturally just left a lot of damage
yes,
along the trail, and that actually did lead to, of course, the Nolichucky River, which the Appalachian Trail crosses.
right,
Um, there was all that devastation, all that damage, and so that actually led to something very cool being set up to help the through hikers make it across there, despite all the damage. So we can go ahead and show people actually.
yeah,
So this is a ferry,
yeah,
and they just recently, just back in middle of March, cut the ribbon on this. But this is a free ferry that was put together by local business owners
right,
and the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. It's a free ferry service that will help hikers on the AT cross the Nolichucky River because of all the Helene
right.
damage.
Well, Chestoa Bridge that was there, that was part actually there. You see it. What's left of it? That bridge. I want you to look how high that bridge was, and it got washed out. But that was their direct route across the river when you came down off the mountain there above the hostel there in Unicoi in Irwin, and you would walk across the bridge and you'd be right back on the trail. But you can't do that right now. So
No,
the town of Irwin had set up it is a 3.6 mile detour hike. If you want to walk it, you got to go back down in toward town and then come back. But the problem is you're running into a lot of traffic. You got dump trucks, you got other pieces of equipment that are working. But Wahoo's has come along here, the rafting company, and are ferrying people across for free from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sure the through hikers are really looking forward to taking that little boat ride across the Nolichucky.
Yeah, and honestly, when you think about it, it is kind of a unique
Yeah,
experience. If you are a person who does this multiple times, or if it's this is going to be your one and done,
right,
you do get the unique experience of, hey, I had to get ferried across a river
right,
on my trekking journey, and that detour. If you're taking the Appalachian Trail, you're wanting to be immersed in nature. You're
right.
wanting to be in the outdoors. And that kind of detour, that I mean, and because you do have to plan
Yeah,
very extensively, like
yes,
how far you're going to be going each day, and that might not seem like much,
right,
but that in the grand scheme of things, that can really throw a wrench in there.
yeah.
So, I mean, having that free service, I mean, Wahoo's offering that massive deal to hikers, and
and
then
and like Damascus, Virginia, Irwin has also become a place for a lot of through hikers to go and get a meal, to get a hot meal. To they'll actually grab a ride from the shuttle service there at the hostel, or or they'll walk on into town and go down into Irwin and get a meal and then get back on the trail. But congrats to Irwin for putting the detour in, and also congrats to them for treating the through hikers the way that they were coming through, and it's just a great way to treat folks as they're visiting our region.
absolutely, and I mean that's such a big part of the economy of
Oh,
Unicoi County
absolutely,
and
yeah.
Irwin. So
Tourism, yeah,
yeah, them being creative and figuring that out to make sure to help people. I mean, it's great job by them. And folks, if you want to read that story that we have on the ferry service, just head on over to our website, wjhl.com, and you can click under the Outdoors Appalachia. That's just underneath the news tab right there. You can find that story
right,
right there, and just an excellent job by the town of Irwin and Wahoo's and everyone there. And this has all the information that you need if you were planning on making that crossing of the river yourself.
right.
So just head over that way if you have any further questions.
And that river has changed, Murray. It really
Oh,
has.
absolutely.
I mean, I grew up fishing that stretch of river right there. Not mentioning fishing so much, but just been on that river a lot in my lifetime. And you would used to stand on the Chestower Bridge, okay, and the river would run down to the left side of. And now, since the flooding, it's more on the right side, and
Yeah,
there's just a huge boulder field over on the left-hand side of the river as you're facing back toward the gorge, back toward North Carolina. So there's changes. So if you're not used to that river and you've not been out there, uh, be careful.
yeah,
Be
absolutely.
careful for a while until things kind of settle out there.
Yeah, you always wanted to be careful on the Nolichucky. You definitely
Absolutely,
want to be
yes.
nowadays.
Whether you're kayaking, wading, whatever you're doing, be careful.
And yet, Chris Greer, our assignment editor, shout out Chris Greer.
Yeah.
Uh, he and I were out there doing an interview one day at that what's left of the Chestoa Bridge
Hmm.
uh, with one of the rafting companies about what sort of changes they'd seen and what they expected for their season. And unfortunately, now we know that their season is not going to happen this
Right.
year. But this was several months ago, and they said the same thing. They said, yeah, we've done multiple trips up and down to try to get an idea, and this river is different.
It is
It is
completely different.
yeah,
I mean, and if you go further down into Washington County, it gets a lot wider now, and it's a lot more shallow from just appearances. So it's where there used to be some shoals areas, they're no longer there. I
yeah.
mean, they have everything's just relocated. So it's going to take a whole nother several years to relearn the river.
All right, well, we got one more topic to talk about. We're going to take one more quick break, and then we'll
All
be
right.
right back. Sorry about that. Welcome back in.
Got to hit the button, Murray.
Yeah, you got to make sure there's all sorts of technical stuff in here. I'm used to punching buttons and
There you go.
words coming out, not punching them and me talking. Welcome back
Welcome
to
to my side of things.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, for those of you who are familiar, Chris spent plenty of time behind the scenes as much as he has on daytime too, so he's familiar with all the buttons.
Uh, as I tell you, Murray, the technology has changed so much. And during, I've been at WJHL for 37 years now. The technology from then until now is night and day. I mean, it's constantly changing. So I probably couldn't keep up right now either. But
Uh,
but it was a long time behind the camera there for a lot of years.
Yeah, you met some pretty awesome people when you were still behind the camera.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go out on stories. That's the great thing about working here in the news department and working for daytime as well. Everything is you meet so many people, and it's not every day's the same. It's not like at work. You're not doing the same thing every day, and that's one thing that really drew me to doing this kind of work.
You ever think, man, I would kill for a day that was anything like the one I had before? 'Cause it is fun, yeah. No,
Yeah,
no day's ever the same, but man,
yep.
every now and then I kind of wish we got some of the some similar days.
Yeah, just to keep things, in perspective.
Yeah,
Take it easy every once in a while. But hey, that's why we do what we do, Murray.
yeah. Well, one thing you can't always count on is the seasons,
Oh yeah,
and so the season. Speaking of which, it's it's time. It's coming up.
yep,
Ready for spring?
yep.
Spring turkey hunting season.
All right, there
So,
we go.
uh,
Season starts April 5th.
yeah. Now, important to note, April
Yeah,
5th is that is the start, not of the entire
nope.
season. That's the start of the young
Young
sportsman.
sportsman.
So those dates are April 5th and 6th is when that starts. But anything harvested during that does count for the
Yeah.
whole time. So the actual shotgun archery spring
Hmm.
turkey season that actually starts on April 12th.
Right.
So
Got another week.
yeah, a little bit of
Basically.
time.
Yeah. But you need to get those youngsters out there for the young sportsmen and get them involved in getting in the outdoors and hunting is a great way to do that during these young sportsman hunts. Just got to remember there's some regulations there too. One male turkey per day, and you only get two per season. And so just make sure you check all the regulations. And if you have a child and you're going out with them, they do have to have somebody 21 years or older with them accompanying them on this young sportsman hunts.
Yeah, you don't want to send them out on their own.
Nope.
Make sure they're supervised.
Yep.
You ever been spring turkey hunting?
Spring turkey hunting's a lot of fun. It really is. I've done it before. I have some nephews that live down in the Anderson County area north of Knoxville that they're living for this time. They
Is
really are. The spring turkey season is so much fun. It really is, and it's not cold. It's not hot. You never know what you're going to get. It can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. It really and that's what makes it fun is the
yeah.
challenge.
Well, yeah, that's you and we've talked before about this, and TWRA will come on and talk about
Yeah.
whenever there are hunting violations.
Yes.
Kind of part of the reason that it's punished so much is it does just kind of take away from
It
the sport.
does.
It's not
Yeah.
if you're shooting from the road or if
Mhm.
you're using some illegal lure
Right.
or some
You're
method that
baiting.
yeah,
Yes.
which and
Yeah.
there's some dangerous ones with
Yes.
turkey hunting,
Yes.
especially. And we've had our friend Matt Cameron with the TWRA here, and he's talked before about some of the dangers of those. Like hiding behind a decoy.
Right.
Like there's a lot that the reason the regulations are in place are for your own safety.
Exactly. And to take care of the population. Because Murray, when I was growing up, and like in the early '70s, and going all the way into the early '80s, the turkey population is not what it is now. Only through the efforts of hunters and the TWRA and other conservation groups do we have the turkey population that we have now in Northeast Tennessee, especially
Yeah, and
because it used to not be that way.
yeah, and actually, it's interesting because we did cover this last year when the totals for the spring turkey hunting season came out.
Right,
So Northeast Tennessee, which makes up for anyone not familiar, the TWRA pretty much divides Tennessee into four regions,
right,
and so there's Region One, that's pretty much all of West Tennessee. Region Two, it's pretty much all of Middle Tennessee. Regions Three and Four make up East Tennessee. So East Tennessee is the only part that's really split up.
right,
And Region Three, that's where you got Knoxville and Chattanooga and like the East Tennessee proper. And then Northeast Tennessee is really pretty much its own category with Region Four. And so they gave us the numbers of those last year,
hmm,
and Region Four did just slightly have a little less than Region Three, and so it was the lowest
right,
in the state. But I mean, when you think about it, for the smallest region, and much less population than middle and other parts of the state, 5,567 turkeys legally
right,
harvested,
right.
in the taken in the season, and so it was quite a successful season, and then obviously in Middle Tennessee. way more than anywhere
Oh yeah.
else. I think it was almost 12,000. I mean,
Oh
compared to everywhere else, I mean, that turkey population there is just exploded. And being from Middle Tennessee,
yeah.
yeah, you can't. Let me tell you, they're in your yard every morning, and just maybe throughout the day
Yeah.
too.
If you ever want to just see some turkeys, okay, just want to go out and just see some. Piece of advice: if you know that there's going to be a thunderstorm rolling in, you know there's going to be a rainstorm rolling in, go out into the farmland, go out into the dairy farms and the areas around Johnson City, Kingsport, Bristol. Get out in the country just a little bit before those storms come in. Those turkeys know those storms are coming in, and you can catch some big turkeys out there. Just you're not hunting, but you're out there wanting to look at them. You can catch some big flocks of turkeys. I mean, really, you can. And I went down to the area down there in north of Knoxville where you can actually they have the elk observation tower down there.
Yeah.
And when I was down there, the turkeys were out in force, and to be able to see those young turkeys that had just hatched and be out there amongst all the grown turkeys and then have elk in the background, what a fantastic day! I mean, it was fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go down there and look at the elk, it is perfect,
All
and
right.
you're liable to see all kinds of other wildlife while you're there as well. Turkeys are in abundance, especially in East Tennessee
Yeah.
and Middle Tennessee.
You ever spot yourself a turkey nest on the ground?
I have not. I have
Oh,
not.
you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah,
Good gracious, they're
I have.
massive.
Yeah, I have not done that. It's like those eagles' nests. The eagles' nests are 7, 8 foot
All right.
across, but you get a turkey on the ground, it's probably 3 or 4 feet
They're
across.
big. There's
Yeah.
no mistaking them
Oh
once you
yeah.
spot them. So all right, I got a little trivia for you
All
before
right.
you go.
Here we go.
All right,
I may or may not have an answer for you, but go.
I think you should be fine on this.
Okay.
All right. So there's three words that will be used, in turkey hunting
Okay.
season to describe the types of turkeys you can harvest.
Right.
All right. You know what you call a grown male turkey,
That is a tom.
okay? And then an adult female turkey.
That's a hen.
Yeah, and then juvenile male.
Jake.
All right, you're good. See, you got it 3 for 3. No worries. Yeah, we're not worried about. Otherwise, look,
I actually
there's a
saw.
reason we're hosting this show
Yeah.
because if we didn't, that'd be embarrassing.
I actually saw two Jakes in the middle of Highway 11E down below Jonesboro not too long ago. Were in the middle of the road fighting each other,
Oh my goodness.
and traffic was stopping.
That's the
They were
most.
they were going at it. I mean, two about half grown turkeys just going fighting for all they were worth right there in the middle of the road. They finally got off the road. The traffic went off, but it was something to see there for a
Oh,
while. Yeah.
it's hilarious to me thinking if any of our sister stations and bigger markets watch this show. They're what are they talking about?
Jakes and Toms and hens.
If you're talking about turkeys fighting in the middle of the road, what's going on in Northeast
Oh,
Tennessee?
and so, and also keep an eye out because there have been some solid white, probably not albino, but solid white turkeys that have been harvested over the past few years. They're becoming more prominent around here in East Tennessee as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some real beautiful ones to keep an eye out
Yes.
for.
Those claybank, they have a subspecies of turkey called claybanks that are a little lighter in color, and I really enjoy when I able to see those.
Alrighty, well, we got to wrap it on up and we'll get on out of here. But thank you guys all for joining us. We'll see you next week on Outdoors Appalachia.
Everyone get to the outdoors and have a good time this week.
Yeah, enjoy that nice warm weather before it's
Absolutely.
gone, and hopefully summer will be here before too long.
Really.
All right, we'll
Thanks,
see
Murray.
y'all. No problem.